whatever it is. I just think we're always like our harshest critics, and I'm really hard on myself about that, but I'm learning to just like give myself grace. I don't care if I have to like stay up all night, if I have to spend like all my lunches like in high school going in the classroom to like make sure I'm 100%, but that's still my personality now. I just want to encourage people. I just want to make people feel good. Like, yeah, I want to speak life to people. That's what's always been the most important to me, is about like connecting with people. God doesn't just put things in your heart by mistake. Like that's passion isn't just on your heart just because it felt like it. Like there's a reason, and I'm like, I have to have faith in that. Oh, yeah. So I saw for the first time when I got home that night that I was like, wait, a lot of these people just have like 10,000 followers. Like I don't know. Like I kind of realized like it's not that hard to reach. Of like, yeah, maybe like I could do something like this, because one of the girls only had like 4,000 followers, and I came into LA with like 6,000. Not saying that's anything crazy, but I still had like a little backing. Yeah, a little something. But anyway, I was like, wait, maybe
you
like...
got all of Vacaville following you?
Yes. Yeah. I was cool on Vacaville. Like, leave me alone. But yeah, anyway, I remember like really like deciding in my head for the first time, I'm like, okay, like I'm going to do this. Like I'm going to give it a shot. So I hired a publicist, and yeah, I started working with her, and it was funny because she like brings me to these red carpets, and like everybody knows what they are. Like they're an actress, they're a model, whatever they're there for. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know what I do yet. I just know I want to do something. Yeah, I know this is a great networking opportunity. I'm putting my name out there. So they were just putting like content creator on my slate. Like I didn't even have a title yet. And so I'm just figuring it out as I'm going. I start doing acting. Like my publicist starts helping me with that. And I start doing auditions. I'm just doing everything I can. And I booked my first thing. It was with Sunset Gower Studios. And I remember I got to go. It was like a TV series. And I was so excited. Like I could not believe this was happening. And I even like got my first call back. Felt like my dreams were coming true. I was like, Mom, Dad.
It's happening.
It's happening. I saw the Hollywood sign. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. But, yeah, I just kept working super hard. Yeah. But then it was great because... actually, the host that first connected me, that I said that event, they invited me to LA Fashion Week. So that was like my first like big event, and I got to like mentor, like I got an intern for them. And it was great because I met someone. Anyway, I ended up doing a shoot with him. And as I'm leaving, like this photo shoot, he's like, oh, like, do you talk? That's literally what he said. Like, can you also talk? Like, are you a public speaker? Or are you just like, I guess like a pretty face? Like, can you also speak? And I was like, yeah. I was like, I used to do like speeches in high school. I used to do pageants. Like, I know how to like
dance too.
Yeah. I was like, I know how to talk. So he was like, great. Like my friend's like coming up with this little company, Hollywood News Center. Like, your audition's next week. And I'm like, damn. Oh my gosh. So just like that. So then he invites me to Hollywood Boulevard, which meanwhile, you guys, in hindsight, this guy's like not legit. Like it's like,
oh, he's a scam.
But yeah, but I don't know this. Of
course, you're excited. You know, you're in Hollywood.
Oh yeah, like
in your mind, your dreams are coming true.
Oh yeah, but I'm so thankful for him still, because I never saw myself as a host, and he was the first one that did plant that in my head.
Right.
So I get to Hollywood Boulevard, and this man has me memorize a script of 4 pages long, and it's like this Elvis Presley conspiracy. Like it's crazy. Like it's like the craziest thing I've ever done to this day. Like that was my first one. So I get there, and he does not train me at all. He doesn't do a call with me before, even like we did. He just was like, show up. So I show up. Oh my God. And right before, these like influencer boys come up to me, and they like, they're like talking to me, and like they don't follow me back on Instagram, but I see they have like millions of followers. They didn't even talk to me until they saw I had the microphone. And then he comes up and he's like, okay, you're on, like go. And out of nowhere, the influencer boys come back up, and they're like recording me. And then it was the craziest thing. My parents' best friends walk by on Hollywood Boulevard, and I'm like, holy shit. Like, I don't even know what I'm doing right now. I'm not even a host. Like, what's going on? And the script was so long, I like barely could remember it. So I'm just like trying, like I keep kind of messing up, and like all these people are watching me, and I'm like, dude, like everyone's recording this, like this is embarrassing. But then the guy's just like, go off book, like just say whatever you feel comfortable with. So I did. I went off book. It was really good. It was really successful. And then those influencer boys like ended up inviting me to this like really cool like Hollywood Hills party, and like it was insane at this like hype house. Like it was so cool. So that was my first time ever hosting on Hollywood Boulevard, but that ended up not being legit.
How'd you discover that? to not be?
Oh,
legit?
you'll hear that. So I start pursuing hosting after this. I'm like, I'm actually pretty good at this. I was like, I could
just went off
talk.
book.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, like I have something going. So then I start auditioning for more hosting roles, and I get my first callback from Latino Alternative Network. And I wasn't going to go because I thought you had to speak Spanish. So I was like, I'm not fluent in Spanish. They're not going to pick me. Why am I going to go? But the director like emailed me back, and she's like, no, like you don't have to be fluent. It's not that type of show. Like you should really come. Like we're interested in you. So I show up to the studio, and there's like all these beautiful Latinas, and I'm like, dude, like I do not have a chance. Like these women are beautiful. Like they come from LA. They know what they're doing. They all had like so many other jobs that they've already done, and I'm like, dude, I've literally only been on Hollywood Boulevard once with the microphone.
Like nothing kind of
yeah, like nothing. And of course, they bring me to the room first. They're like, Aliyah, you're up first, Vacaville. And I just go in there and I'm talking about Vacaville and everything.
You're just being yourself.
Yeah, just being myself, just like my normal self. And they asked for my experience. And thank goodness I had the one Hollywood News Center thing. I was like, oh, I reported for Hollywood News Center. Yeah. Barely.
4 pages long, my
4 pages long.
Which was a scam, by the
no.
way.
You'll hear that. That's actually that same guy's
funny.
what brought me into boxing, which is funny. It's like a full circle.
The same guy?
Same guy. Wow. So it's almost, I'm almost there.
It's not the worst scam.
No,
yeah.
it's actually.
It's a good scam.
This is probably one of the best scams ever.
But you guys, I have to show you his page after because it's just hilarious. Like there's levels to this shit. Just like there's A-list celebrities, there's like directors that are like they act like they're like this and they're like not.
So he's playing.
But anyway, he's playing some cards.
Right.
But anyway, I get the call back that I booked the job and I was the host.
You beat all them
yes.
fine ass Latinas.
Yes.
What do you feel was the difference? I mean, I feel like I could kind of have an idea. What
we said of like it's kind of Vacaville of like my co-host is from New York and the other one's from Brooklyn, and then I'm the only like small town girl. So like even when we're doing our episodes, like everybody loves listening to us. Like they said we're like one of the like best cast they've ever had.
What's the show about actually?
It's a woman empowerment show. It's called Get It Girl. So it's basically like we're hyping up women. They're coming on. We're talking about their journeys.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, basically LATV was my first booking and they really developed me. So I'm so thankful for that. Like it's actually crazy to see like the first episodes, like my first season with them, how I looked and how young I was and how nervous I was. And now to see myself, I'm like, wow. But it's funny because even when I said like the 4-page script, like I'm honestly so thankful for that because it made me like such a good host because like I showed up my first day on Get It Girl. I remembered 12 scripts. We had 12 shows. I remember all of them. And I get there and my co-host starts laughing. She's like, there's like a teleprompter, right? Like you're silly. Like you don't have to memorize this. But like I've never actually done professional work. So like I didn't know. Okay. But then anywho, I'm starting to do TV hosting. And then that same guy that I told you about, he like texts me one day and he's like, do you want to cover this like magazine cover launch? But it was the same day as my acting class, which the acting class I was doing, if you missed it, you owed $60. So it was like, I was like, I don't know if it's worth it, if I should go to the event. But I called my mom and dad. They were like, you should go, whatever. So I show up and it happens to be for Oscar de la Hoya and Holly Saunders. Like they're the cover of the magazine. Yeah. Oh yeah, you heard of that guy. Me too.
Holly's his wife, right?
Yeah. So I ended up being like the only host on the carpet and that guy forgets my mic. Like who forgets the host mic? So I'm doing interviews without a mic on the carpet, but it all worked out. I was supposed to be there clearly because afterwards, somebody came up to me and they were like, I think you would be really good for my friend's company. Like he has a boxing network. He has a channel. I think you'd be great. So he like gives me this guy's like Instagram. That's all I have. I've never met the dude. And so then I stayed persistent. I reached out to him and I remember the guy asked me, he's like, okay, send me your sports reporting demo reel. And I was like, I don't even have one. Like, I'm not even a sports reporter. So he didn't have any work for me for like 7 months. And then I was in New York last year for the first time in March. I was actually visiting my cousin Letty that I told you about earlier. Letty. And he texted me after like 7 months. He DMs me and he's like, it's Wednesday night. And he's like, hey, do you want to cover the Ryan Garcia versus Gervonta Davis press conference tomorrow morning in Beverly Hills? And I'm like, that
was your first ever?
Yes, that was my first one. And I'm in New York and my flight is not even until Friday. I'm like, I can't even make it. And I already texted him. I was like, oh, unfortunately, I won't be able to make it. But then I called my dad and I was like, Dad, like, I was like, they just invited me to like the press conference. And he was like, oh my God. Go. Oh yeah. He's like, everything. Yeah. He is literally like, so, oh my. Oh yeah. He's like, you don't understand like how big this fight is. Like, I don't care. Like,
it's a great opportunity.
No, I didn't.
Defense, you're like Ryan Garcia. No, you didn't know, right?
I knew like about them, but I wasn't like really following the sport all at that time. Sure. I like loved the sport from growing up and watching it with my family, but at that time I wasn't like really following it. Right. So I didn't even know really. But yeah, so my dad was like, I know it's hard, but like we'll help you, whatever. So I flew into LA. I flew into San Francisco that night at like midnight. My dad and my mom got my suitcase for me because I had like 4 bags from New York. And then I flew to LA that same night. I landed at like 2 a.m. And meanwhile, like I'm learning how to be a sports reporter overnight. Wow. Like I'm learning everything at the airport the day before.
You're just on the fly.
Oh, just on the fly. Like I'm watching all these interviews. I'm studying. Like I'm just like in tunnel vision focused.
I think like not to toot your own horn, but like I think that's a really like great quality to be able to just adjust.
Thank you.
Doing, well,
right? I think that's what God has instilled in you, though. Just like that grace, I guess. I guess. Well, I'm looking for the word. I don't know if it's like grace, but also like that composure of just like it's gonna be what it's gonna be. Like all I could do is control what I can control, and just put me in. My dad says it's in Spanish, but he's maybe you could translate. My dad always says, "No más ponme donde está," like where it's at. And let me do the rest, and just my faith in God.
Amen
put me where I need to be, and
just put me where I need to be, and my faith in God, and we're gonna get it done.
And that's exactly what it is.
I hear that often too, where like especially in the acting world, I mean, you would know more than us, but from interviews that I see and whatnot, like I feel like it's a common thing where you'll get connected with these people and you won't hear from them for a while, and then out of the blue they'll contact you. You know, you said like 7 months.
Last minute, and it's always last minute.
Right.
Like on the fly, you got to be ready.
Yeah,
that's a crazy event itself, though, for your first time.
Oh
ever.
Yeah,
huge event, millions of people there.
It was crazy. So I get there.
Did you sleep at all?
Sounds. Oh like no, no. Like I was just like. I was kind of stressing before. Like, I'm really trying to prepare. I'm reading my dad all these questions. I'm like, does that sound good? Like, to ask the boxer? He's like, yeah, these sound really good. Like, I really put so much thought into it. I really want it to be from the heart. But also, I've never been to this event. And the guy doesn't call me and tell me, like, hey, just a heads up, this is how it's run. So I show up in my little dress that day. I'm like, okay. And the first thing he tells me, like, one of the first things, he's like, so this is your audition. So like if you do good, like I can give you more work, but if not, like you're done. And I'm like, holy shit, like a lot of pressure. I'm like, okay, dude.
At least he's straightforward.
Yeah, I'm like, okay. I'm like, this is my moment. Like this is what you've been waiting for. So then I'm thinking like I'm just interviewing the 2 main guys. Like I don't know how these stuff work. So I have questions ready for Ryan and Gervonta. That's it. Yeah. And out of nowhere, he says like he gets me to the carpet and it's all these people like NBA players are walking up, like these past boxers. Like I didn't even know to expect this. Like Oscar De La Hoya was like my first one. Like Bernard Hopkins right after. Like I don't even know what I'm doing yet. And so I'm just like. Oh, I'm giving it the best I can. And he was giving me like little questions to say before. And I was just doing what I knew from like my work with LATV, you know, make people feel comfortable, smile, all of that. I was doing that. And it was really funny though, because he could already see I had like a pretty big personality. And he was like, okay, just to let you know, because it was getting time now, like Ryan and Gervonta were about to come up. He was like, Ryan's going to love you. He was like, Ryan's going to feed off your energy. It's going to be great. And he was like, Gervonta though, I don't know. He was like, he's very chill. Like, I don't know how he's going to take your energy. Just a heads up. And I was like, oh my God. So like now I'm really overthinking it. I'm like, maybe I should like come at this differently. So Gervonta gets to me first and I'm just myself. Like, I'm like, whatever. He walks up to me.
Is this where he had the purse? The little purse?
That was that outfit. Okay. And I'm just myself. And it ends up being a great interview. He ends up giving me so much time. And that was actually the interview that like launched me into boxing because it went viral. Like they like titled it like Gervonta Davis, all smiles like never before seen with Aliyah Orozco.
Side of him.
Wow. Yeah, and that's what everyone in the comments were saying. And people were like, she belongs on the red carpet. She's great. Like, and I was like, oh my gosh, because it was a different vibe to boxing reporting.
How did you start that conversation? Like, do you remember?
With Gervonta?
Yeah. Like, how did you break the ice with him?
I don't know. I would, hi everyone, whatever. I was
like, I'm purse.
No, I was like the one and only Tank Davis, whatever I said. But I feel like I just really try to like I don't know, just fill out the vibes when you're interviewing someone, and then I just like adapt to that. Like I'm like, he obviously, whatever it was, but I was just really myself when he was smiley, and it was great.
You're like either a really good actress or you're like genuinely just like a happy girl. Because I gotta say, like, from the moment I greeted you downstairs, you have been all smiles, and I know that's something you've been taught. It sounds like, but again, like, I don't know. I hope it's the latter, but it seems natural. It seems real. Where like you're genuinely just happy, you know, to be here, or you know,
I'm so happy.
Or you can put it on, just to like, hey, it's time to be professional and be smiley. So I can see that because I've seen those interviews, and you don't seem nervous. You've got great energy.
Right.
Like I can see how that, you know, it becomes contagious with whoever you're talking to, and you're bringing out, you know, I guess a different side to Gervonta Davis.
That's what they like.
It just shows that you belong here. This is where you need to be.
Thank you.
And like I seen the one with Canelo. I thought it was funny because there was a part where this guy kind of got a little closer and you like pushed him.
I saw that too. It was like, excuse me.
Like, hey, I'm doing my thing.
That's what's hard though, is like you're by yourself. Like when I get to go to LATV, it's a whole different world. Like they bring you the celebrities on the carpet, and it's so easy, and you have a name sheet and a face sheet. But like there, it's like everyone for themselves. It's like the wild, wild west. Like everyone's pushing your cameras. They don't care. I don't even have a videographer with me at most times, so it's just me in my heels setting up the tripod and my camera and doing the mic. Like I'm really the editor, the producer, the host. Like I do all of it.
One
woman show. That's what I always say. So it is hard, like when people do that, but I have had to learn to like. That's what's hard because, like you guys are saying, I'm a really nice person in that way. Like even in high school, it was really hard because girls were mean to me a lot at times, and I'm not very confrontational. I'm really nice. I'm always like the kill them with kindness type of vibe. But in that environment, I'm like I had to like I think I needed it. Like I was like I think God put me in it to like grow a backbone. Like I had to be like, hey,
too, right?
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Question here, because I could have sworn I was listening to the Gervonta Davis post fight, his last fight. You asked him a question. So that's like wow, like your first ever gig, you interview Tank, and now, you know, coming off his latest victory, you're right there. You're asking him, I'm assuming he's familiar with you now?
That's what's crazy is I didn't even realize, like, that was my first interview, like we said, and now I can't interview him. Like, it's so hard to, like, even get to him. So, like, I don't know yet because I haven't got to stand close enough to even be like, hey, do you remember me? But it was great because I interviewed Ryan, too, like I said, but the mic went out, so they never posted it. So, like, I never even got to see the interview, and it was a great one, but Ryan remembered me.
Right.
And
I seen he hugged you against when he fought against Haney. I believe you were there.
Wait, I wasn't at Haney. I was, but yeah, I saw him in Saudi, and I just saw him this last time, and he remembers me, which is great, and we're friends, so that's been great. But hopefully, Gervonta, I can't wait to tell him that. Like, do you remember me?
Yeah.
How was it? I mean, we're seeing a lot of stuff going on with Ryan right now, both good and bad. I mean, it depends on your perspective. But how? I mean, you say you're friends with him. I mean, how is he off camera? I mean, he seems chill. I mean, how would you describe him?
I mean, I don't know him like too well yet. Like, he literally just started. He just followed me back on Instagram this like last time.
Nice.
But I'm saying, no, oh my God, no. But I'm saying like I don't know him that well yet. Yeah. It's only been like 3 times. But I can say, because I know his mom. Like I talked to his mom like a good amount. And I've talked to his like sister and stuff. I know his family. And for me, like I really got to see last year when I met him. Yeah, Lisa, and she's great. She's a great woman. There you have just a great family.
Right.
But for me, like when I first met Ryan last year, like I see who he is. Like I see like I don't know, just his vibe, and I feel like he is a really good person. I just feel like he's had so much pressure on him so fast, and also like his mom, I don't know if you saw, just
she has cancer.
Yeah, and it's like I really don't know how I would act when I found that out about my mom, and if I'm gonna even be worse than him or crazy. Like I really don't know. And I mean, I'm not saying everything he does I agree with, but I do think that he is a good person, and I think that this is just gonna break off. Like I think Jesus is calling him, and I think he is gonna do something great. But yeah, I really think at his core, because even when I saw him like last week, I'm like, it just made me sad. Like I could see it in his eyes almost that he's like hurting, and like that hurts me. And even his mom was telling me that last time I interviewed him of like, you really don't know what's going on with the boxer like outside in his personal life. And it's like we don't, and like everyone has so much to say, but I'm like, we really have no idea what he's walking through. So I always just try to give him grace and like let him know I'm here for him and praying.
Amen.
Yeah, no, and I think there's people that have reached out to, you know, give him help or had advice, things like that. So I think it's just up to him now to make that decision and, get that help if he really does need the help. At first, I thought it was just an act and all that. It looked like it was with the whole Haney situation. But now, I'm still kind of seeing the same behavior. I think he was just out here. I saw he was like chugging this drink and everything.
I don't even know, something crazy.
Yeah, but hopefully he gets that help if he does need it. Don't be afraid to get that help. It's only gonna make him better as a person, and like you said, only one can imagine what he's going through mentally.
Exactly.
So. How do you deal with pressure? I'm very curious, like on your mental. I mean, what you just described, that was great, by the way, because it was very vivid, and I feel like I was watching a movie in my head, and I was like, oh, that's crazy. But how do you like mentally prepare yourself? I mean, you're young, you literally don't know some of these people. You're being put in right in the fire, but and you're shining.
Right.
It's like you're taking advantage of that. Like you're making it count. Like, do you tell yourself anything mentally? What's going on mentally?
Yeah. No, it definitely is like a lot of pressure, and it's really hard at times. Like even after I finish sometimes, which I feel really thankful in the boxing sense, I usually feel good after, but even just in general, when I film or do interviews sometimes, I'm like, dang, like you could have done way better. Like you sound really bad. Like whatever it is, I just think we're always like our harshest critics, and I'm really hard on myself about that, but I'm learning to just like give myself grace. But the pressure part, it is really hard, and it's hard being young in it. And I know people don't take me as seriously sometimes because I'm a woman and just a lot of things, but I work like twice as hard just so like,
good for you.
Yeah, like to prove that. Like I've always been that way though. Like I don't care if I have to like stay up all night, if I have to spend like all my lunches like in high school going in the classroom to like make sure I'm 100%, but that's still my personality now of like, I don't care what I have to do. Like I'm going to go in there so overly prepared.
I was
Which
just
is good preparation.
That.
Yeah,
right.
Breeds confidence.
So you're prepared.
Right. I'm really prepared.
Right. You're not gonna take something lightly. You're not gonna wing it. Fair to say.
No, not at all. Like I really, and like I know boxing so much now too. Like that's what I choose to do in my free time, so I can just continue perfecting my craft. And I love it now too. Like I know these people and they're my friends, and I want to watch their journeys even when I'm not at the fight and support them. And I don't know, it's really just so fun to follow now. Like
it's 100%. Created its own life of its own kind of thing now.
No, yeah. Once I did that first interview with that press conference,
people want to see more of you too.
I didn't ever expect to like go into sports journalism or boxing, but the second I had like that little taste of it, I was like, no, this is definitely for me. But it was hard because after that, like I wasn't getting much work anymore with that company. It just because they were just in a transition. Like he was going through his own like life stuff and whatever, and I wanted consistent work and I couldn't get it. So it really took me choosing to like still be persistent and put myself out there and fight to be in those rooms when someone finally gave me an opportunity. And they sent me to my first fight. It was last year, Devin Haney versus Vasyl Lomachenko. And I had no idea what I was doing. Like, I still remember, like, the media guys, I, like, went up to them and I was like, you guys, like, I don't know what to be doing right now. Like, I almost got kicked out, like, twice. Shit. I guess you can't film in the casino. I didn't know that, like, all these rules. But, like, this whole journey, like, I've just been learning as I go. But I'm just thankful to be around, like, the crowd that I've been in and, like, have the mentors I've had, like Michelle and different people in the boxing world, because even I got to do some work with Overtime, and it was so great I'm with these 5 veterans, like they've done this for like all like 10 years, and then this is me, like, and the fact that I even booked like a broadcast job in my first year of sports journalism was like crazy to me. And it was crazier because the executive producer found me on TikTok, and that's what they loved about me. They were like, you break down these boxers like nobody else. So like I see like the like almost the most hardest boxers come to you and they're laughing about like something like cheesecake or something. Like that's what my interviews were known for. Like they're fun and it's like a different style.
Right.
So yeah, I almost felt like what made me like so different than people was actually like my advantage. And that's hard too, because I feel like a lot of times people, you know, try telling me who to be, or like I had one person, it was really discouraging for me last year. I don't know. He basically just told me, but he didn't tell me this to my face, but he told me that like I wasn't a good host. I wasn't serious enough, like just all this stuff. And I really like sat there and I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. Like I remember texting my mom and my friends and I was like, this is not for me. Like I need to go back to acting. Like I don't think I can do this. And they were like, you're going to let like one person, like it wasn't one person.
Opinion.
Yeah, but and I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. But it was more like I already had so many other thoughts in my head and so much other pressure. And the YouTube comments sometimes like are brutal sometimes, which I'm thankful. People are mostly like all nice in my videos, but I'm still a girl and people are still going to say like, she's annoying. She doesn't know what she's talking about. She's stupid. Like, get her out of here. It's just because of her.
In the kitchen.
Yeah, put her back in the kitchen. It's just because like it's sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe he said that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that it really did like have me question at a time. But now like I feel so much more confident in the sense of like, that is what makes me unique and what makes people want to watch my interviews is I have a different style and I am more like an entertainment reporter, but I think it's fun in the boxing world because boxing is still just a show. So it's like I try to bring the glamour and always dress up for all the events and just make it fun.
So I got a question for you here. Obviously, with your experience with overtime boxing, you just being so young, 22 years old, what was that experience like? Like you're in like an industry in a place where these people, number one, they're way older than you. They've probably been doing this for years. How do you like control your thoughts, I guess, going into that to that experience there? Like,
no, honestly, that was the hardest thing I ever did. But I'm so thankful that I've gained that opportunity because now I feel like I could do anything. Like it was so hard. Like I've never had somebody in my ear. Like I've never done live. Like even when I film for LA TV, it's like, yeah, it's all these big cameras and all these stuff, but it's still like being pre-produced after and they're editing all this stuff out and I can mess up a million times, but like, oh my gosh, like it's live. Like I can't screw up. It was really hard, but it also felt so right. Like the whole time I just couldn't stop being like, thank you, God. Like, this is what I prayed for. But I did really have to keep telling myself, like, you belong here. Because I felt like I couldn't do it for almost one moment. Like, they're in my ear and they're like, Aliyah, just like take a breath. Like, you could do this. Like, it was about to be like my walkout. And I'm like, this is what you waited your whole life for. And it's like right here. So it was so much pressure, especially since everyone was men and I was the only woman. Like I really felt like I had to show up for the women and like
even more eyes on you.
And
not only that, young women.
And this was my it was really hard, but it was also really exciting. Like they taught me so much and everyone was so encouraging. And one of the analysts, his name's Corey, he really like made sure like to be there for me and read my questions and really help me in that way. Cause even that, like I was coming up with all my own questions for this broadcast and I did like a little like podcast type thing for them before, all my own questions. So like, I was really put in a job that I've never even done before. And I learned
like that's
so
the natural
much.
For you now,
oh,
right?
I love it. Now I can't wait. Like I want to do so much more broadcasts. Like that's where my heart is, like for anything, for sports, entertainment. But yeah, once I got to experience that, I'm like, this is what I want to
do. So now with obviously you launch Rise Up, you got your own podcast there. What's your vision with that?
Kind of like you guys. Like I'm still figuring out as I'm going, but I think that's what is exciting. Like God put it on my heart last year, and I wasn't sure about it still. I was like, I don't know. But it's been in the works for a while. It's taken a long time, but I just want to. I don't know. I just want to encourage people. I just want to make people feel good. Like, I want to speak life to people. That's what's always been the most important to me is about like connecting with people and sharing their stories and listening to people. And I think like one of the most beautiful parts about this world is like we learn from each other. Like we all are on our own paths, but we all have so many like universally same experiences and like it all connects back in some way. And I'm like, I don't know, like if I could like teach someone from my experiences and like all the hardships I went through in my testimony and different things in my life, like, and then my guests, like, I don't know, I just found it as like a great opportunity. I don't know, I still don't really know. I'm still finding my voice for it, but I just want it to be like an encouraging media outlet to give people a platform to share their stories and testimonies with people.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Like you guys too.
And if I can, give you some pointers, I mean, I think that vision is perfect. And you know this, but just so you can hear it from other fellow podcasters, just continue to do it. I think you're going to figure things out more as things will get clearer. The vision will get more clear. And that's really what we've done where and I don't think you have this issue because I think what you've done with the sports stuff, I think, in my opinion, that's crazy, much tougher because this is more controlled, right? Like you said, editing and all that, going live fuck, you can't mess up.
You're
Oh
right.
my
You
gosh,
got
you
it.
can't mess up.
Right. So, one thing we're good at is we control what we can control, and then what we can't, we just can't. And we just go with that flow. And I think more than anything is just having God, though. I think you have that right. Where your foundation is correct. So I think as long as you build on that, you're gonna have something strong that won't fall, and it's gonna be.
Yeah. And most importantly,
Thank you.
just being transparent, which I feel like you are 100% of the time. I was actually listening to your first episode.
Thank you for listening.
Like, right there, like you were talking about like your emotions. You're like, oh my God, like I'm about to cry. I don't know why I'm about to cry, but it's natural, right?
Yeah.
Like you're not faking the funk. But there was something that stood out to me that you said there. It was kind of towards the end if you guys haven't listened to it.
Let's go listen.
But you talked about reinventing yourself. Right. So I wanted to ask you, like, what was some of the things that you had to work on or to like transition to reinvent yourself?
That's a great question. That's actually a topic I like really love because I feel like, I don't know, it's encouraging for people. Like I feel like for me, for example, like when I first moved here, like I said, I didn't actually think I was going to put myself out there as the talent, but it took me like realizing like, I don't care what anyone thinks about me or how I look or how I've already been perceived, because before I wasn't even going to move to LA actually because things were going so good for me with real estate that I was like, I can make a lot of money here. My family's here. Yeah, I have just got my real estate license too. So I hope I'm going to do some of that too. I think I'm going to stay in SoCal for that. But yeah, I wasn't even going to leave. But basically, I don't know. I think for me, it was about like the confident aspect of it. Of just being confident in myself, but also just like I'm saying, like not caring what anybody else thinks. Like I think at any moment of your life you could choose, like even if you've been this person of like, no, I wanna be like this, you could change it up at any moment. And I think for me, I always cared so much about like what other people thought about me, and I was scared of like looking cringy to other people, and I was just really hard on myself. Like I think everyone thought I was confident because I like put myself out there and I did pageants and I would give speeches at the school, but like deep down I was like super insecure and I was super mean to myself mentally. But for me, like, yeah, I started changing that. I started loving myself more and believing in myself and realizing that if like I really did want to make this dream come true, like I had to believe in it first. And I also had to like realize that, like God doesn't just put things in your heart by mistake. Like that's passion isn't just on your heart just because it felt like it. Like there's a reason. And I'm like, I have to have faith in that. But yeah, I don't know. I think we get nervous at times in our life of like, cause it's like your friends. Like I already knew my friends were going to be like, oh my God, like, does she think she an influencer? Like that's not her. Like, yeah, they keep you so much to like what people see you as. Like they want to keep you in their little box. Yeah. But I'm like, I need to get out of the box. And like, I'm still having to do that. Like, I still feel like people tell me like, no, you can't be a sports reporter and a TV host. You can't do that. You have to pick one or the other. And I'm like, no, I can. Like, I could be multidimensional. I could be both. But I think it's having like faith in yourself and faith in God's plan for your life and just knowing like, you could be whoever you want to be, and it's so empowering. Like, yeah.
How do you do that? I mean,
I was about to. Well, I don't know if you're about to ask this, but like, how did you deal with the self-doubt though, and like the criticism?
I'm like, dang, like how did I?
Did you just forget about him? Fuck him.
I think it was a little bit easier for me that I left my hometown. And I think I always tell people that, like, sometimes you kind of do have to leave the hometown because it is, like...
Literally.
Yeah, like, it's your family telling you. Like, it's almost like you realize in your early 20s, I feel like, that your whole perception of this life is what a bunch of other people told you. And it's, like, the first time in your life that you're like, wait, actually, like, who am I? Like, what do I want to do for myself? Despite what my friends said. And I feel like I've always had kind of, like... judgmental friends too, and for me I really had to let go of that. And like I am such a people pleaser and I am really nice, and like I'm someone who wants to keep like all these relationships. And I remember like my boyfriend at the time when I first moved out here, like he really like made me realize that of like not all these people are like meant to go everywhere with you. Like some people were almost holding me back with like the vision they had of me still, and like I had to let go of that and just be like, whoever comes for this new journey, they will. And I mean, I still don't talk to like a lot of people, and I don't know what a lot of people think, but like I don't really care because I don't know, like I was so embarrassed at first, but it's been crazy now because now I'm like, wow, like I was so scared of like saying like I wanted to be a TV host or a sports reporter, and then like everyone from my hometown seeing, and then I fail and I look like a failure,
course.
like just like
Embarrassment.
I'm so embarrassed,
Don't come
and
back to that
I didn't
again.
want anyone like to know that. So I was like, maybe like I didn't want to put myself out for that reason, but then I did, and now I'm like, all these people are reaching out to me now from my hometown, congratulating me, and like I'm inspiring people, and I'm like, it is so hard to silence that. But like you just have to, like you really just have to have faith in like the unknown. Like
I think that's a big hack. I think what you talked about, I don't think too many people talk. At least I don't hear this very often. I have heard it from a few people, but just to reiterate, like your point of physically leaving, which makes so much sense because
I think Rudy talked about that. Do you remember? Rudy? When he moved from
yes,
Boston.
yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah, all those kids over there from the East Coast. So, right, because if you think about it, if you break it down, and it just, I guess I can share this with you guys because we're believers. But even Jesus, right? Like Jesus was rejected by his own people, by Jerusalem, right? The place where he grew up, his own culture. These people. Literally, like I don't know if you saw the parallel, but it's in the Bible where these people look at him and say, you're the Messiah? Like, aren't you that carpenter? Aren't you that kid that used to fucking make chair, whatever they made back then? So it's the same thing. It's like, aren't you the girl that came from Vacaville? Like, you know, for me.
You really think you could do that? Like,
you think like you're gonna, so it's a hack. A lot of people, and it's a big one because it's got to be one of the hardest things because you gotta literally let go of everything.
You do.
Your environment, your people, your friends, your family. I think the family is obviously one of the hardest ones, if not the hardest one. But it's a hack because if you leave that behind and you enter a new environment, nobody knows you.
Right.
Therefore, nobody can judge you. They can't say shit. Well, I don't know you.
So I'm saying,
Right,
I'm
so
like,
if you come in like I'm a TV host or
I'm like, okay,
they're gonna
cool.
probably
Exactly,
believe that.
Right,
Like there's
right.
gonna be a difference. So I think that's a really good hack that yes, you know, it costs money to move or maybe not that much, but I think that's excellent. And we've got a friend, Yoel. I know we've talked about this before, but he's from Oregon and he moved to
out
LA,
here.
him and some buddies, and you know, they're pursuing kind of like the whole filming dream, and I see that where it's like, well, a good first step, you know, would be to just get out of there, literally move and you know, follow your dream.
it's so freeing though, almost like it's such a good feeling.
It is, and to kind of piggyback what you said, it reminds me. We had a guest. He's an artist, singer. His name's Rudy, and he talked about the power of being able to reinvent yourself. So he's from Massachusetts, Boston, and he said it's so much easier when you leave your hometown and go to a different city because nobody knows you. So you could literally reinvent yourself. The problem is when you're at home and you're trying to be somebody, and the people that have known you your whole life, they're like, bro, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Type of thing. Like, no,
Yes.
you know. But when you go somewhere else, different city, it's like a fresh start. Nobody knows you. You could literally reinvent yourself. So I think that's so key because if you don't like who you are right now, the answer is simple. You could reinvent yourself.
And I always try reminding that to all my friends or just like anyone, because I feel like sometimes you feel like stuck or like you feel like you're already just living this life. Like this is who you are. This is what I'm always going to see. But like I always tell my friends that I'm like, how do you know like you don't have this like great job in like New York being a journalist, or you're going to be in Texas working at, or Europe working in a cafe. Like there's all these different like versions of your life that you could be in at any moment. You can get up and like choose to go do that. Like it honestly excites me because even this, I'm like, if one day like this doesn't work out for me, like there's something else like great for me out there, and I could go to Hawaii and be like Miss Nature and like make acai bowls and raise a family out there. Like I don't know.
You're developing so much along the journey that you're discovering, you know, more of yourself, right? Like the reinventing yourself is such a beautiful thing because, you know, if you're a business person, if you're just someone that, you know, just loves life and you want to achieve more, not in a greedy sense of like, you know, gotta have more, but just like, hey, like God, like it's just a simple question. It's a rhetorical question. I don't need you guys to answer, but you guys can. But like, are we supposed to believe that God made us just to be like average?
Nope.
Are we supposed to believe that God made us just to be like some small town no, like
Wow, I've never heard that. I love that.
I mean, I'm just saying, like God is God.
We're the king. We're the child of God, which is if God is the King of all kings, does He want us to live?
Right,
average?
we're made in His image.
Right.
God, it's all about faith. It's all about the unknown. It's all about fucking go out there and show people, who I am, I love, and whatever that looks like, whether it's, your smile through sports broadcasting or just meeting these people and praying for them, who knows?
Right.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
it's just, the one pattern I have seen, I'm thinking about, like in our old company, for example, when a person wanted to promote themselves and become like an owner, if you will, they would be assigned a territory. And like, let's say I'm in LA and I'm like, hey, I want to become an owner. They would send me to like the middle of nowhere, like Nebraska,
oh my gosh,
Nebraska, Mississippi. No offense to anybody, but to me, that's like the middle of nowhere.
To rebuild it, right?
Right. Just the idea is like, we're gonna put you somewhere new. We're gonna put you in a new territory because guess what? You need to reinvent yourself.
Yeah.
You need a. It's that cliche saying of like, to do something you've never done before, you gotta become someone you've never
been before.
Exactly.
Before. So, well, I mean, just we're almost close to an hour 30, but. If you could, I mean, I know he talked about, or he asked you about the reinventing, but I mean, this might be too hard of a question, but what's that one thing for you that you have reinvented that you're, I guess, the most proud of for yourself personally? And I don't know if you take much time to, analyze yourself. Yeah. I think we should, but do you have an idea for you? Like, hey, man, I'm really proud of, and I know you touched a few, like letting go of some friends. I know that's always hard. The whole
that's
judgmental,
really
getting those critics outside of your head, and sometimes they're not even real, sometimes it's us.
It's us. Yeah.
No, literally. I think that's what it is. Like for me, like, I guess it's just like my courage. I'm really proud of my courage because I've seen that this whole year of like I'll just get a random call like, hey, we want you to come to Saudi Arabia for 2 weeks and there might be an opportunity for you to start hosting for the Prince of Saudi's like soccer company. And I'm like, my grandparents are like, you are not going, like there's a war going on. Like they're all so worried for me. My grandpa's like, fair enough. You're not going unless they pay you 10 grand. I'm like, who's paying me 10 grand? Like, ain't nobody paying me 10 grand. But, like, I just go. Like, I always just have courage and go and just believe in it. And for me, that's really big because I feel like I didn't have that growing up. Like, it's been so empowering for me because I'm really, like, becoming, like, who I've always wanted to be, like, as a little girl. And all these things, like, I did in middle school and high school. Like, I always wanted to put myself out in the world this way, but I was so afraid of, like, what everyone else would think of me that I wouldn't. Like, I was okay to, like, make myself little to make everybody feel comfortable. Yeah, and I'm still dealing with that in, like, a different way. And I still have to keep reminding myself of, like, Aliyah, like, you have to think about yourself first of like, right. I really do like will sometimes like bend over backwards to make someone feel comfortable and put myself in like a harder spot. So for me, just like, I don't know, just setting those boundaries and having courage in what I want to do and not caring what anyone thinks about me. Like just being fine with my own opinion and what God says about me.
Facts. On that note there, that's something that I would have to remind myself where it's like, it's okay to want more for you. For your family. Yeah. I would get stuck in this mindset of like, damn, like what's this fool gonna think about me if, I'm more ambitious, because the truth is people do, they subconscious, they don't understand what they're doing. It's a natural thing where they just say something like, it's like, come on, bro, like really, like you want more, like who do you think you are type of thing. But that could make or break you, where you could tell yourself like, yeah, who do I think I am? You know what? Like this is what my cards were dealt. But I would always remind myself it's okay to want more. There's nothing wrong with it as long as your morals are right. As long as your character is right, as long as you're doing something with a genuine heart, it doesn't matter what this person say or what they think. If you want more for your family in a great way, not in a selfish way, it's okay. So
that's so good.
I remind myself of that. It's okay. Like, because people, I think there's a misunderstanding when we say like, oh man, like I want to make 20,000-30,000 a month, and where people's like, who do you think you are type of thing to make that, like really type of thing. But it's okay.
Yeah, it's
okay to want 20,000-30,000 a month.
Yeah.
I want to bring something up, which we've got like 3 minutes, but this might extend a little bit longer. And I'm actually curious because you know the word, and I don't know if you've heard this before, but I've actually never brought this up with either of you. And I know,
this is crazy.
Let's see where this goes. Because you just said something very interesting that's very true. So, for example, me growing up, there's a belief in some churches, and I can only speak for
that money's evil?
For Christian churches, that money is
the root. Yeah.
And to be fair, the Bible does say, so it doesn't say that. It doesn't say that
The
money.
love of money.
Correct. So the
love
Bible
for
says
money.
the love of money is the root of all evil.
It's true.
So I grew up with a fear of like, nah, why would I want to be rich? There's another verse that talks about that it's easier for a man. I'm gonna botch this. Maybe if you could help me out here, but it talks about a rich man. It's easier for a rich man to enter heaven than it is to enter like the eye of a needle. And I've done a little bit of research on that, but clearly not enough because I can't remember the verse. But the point is that like, you know, there's an example of you got it?
Yeah, but it's a little different.
Wait, let's hear
Go
it.
ahead.
Yeah, there's a lot.
And I'll
of,
say it into the microphone. So, or here, if you want.
Which one? The King James?
There's a lot of different versions.
Let's hear the real version.
And again, I say unto you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of the needle than for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of God.
Yes, that's precisely it.
Ooh,
Wow. I know there's a camel.
that was actually pretty good. That was actually pretty.
So
accurate.
hold on a second. The eye of a needle, right? And
Break it down.
And for the theologians, they're probably going to give me some crap on this because I have done research on it. But let's just take a needle, the eye of a needle where you put a thread in. That's fucking small. It's easier for a camel to enter the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. It's a little scary because then it's just like, okay, well, why would I want to be rich?
Right.
I'm not trying to lose out. But what I have come to learn is that our God is a God of abundance. And I believe that he does want us to live in abundance, whether that looks like a lot of money, maybe not. Maybe it looks like an abundance of love and abundance of grace. I don't know. But that's a big one. I think for me and a lot of people that I've, talked to in college, et cetera, and I think there's a lot of people that can probably relate to this, like they view money as like something to stay away from. I'm just going to have a little bit, and so I think that mindset, I think it's a bit, I mean, Jesus also says that the poor are always going to be with us, no matter, what era we're in. I think poor people, that's something I always keep in mind when I see homeless people, is like, no matter whether it's communism or fucking capitalism, you're always going to have, poor people. But I think if we could maybe tap more into God's heart, his truth, I think we would learn that money is just a tool. And again, that verse says the love of money. It doesn't say money in itself is evil, but if you end up making money your God, right? So it's not so much G, but it's all about money. It's all about fuck him. Yeah, like I'm gonna do immoral things to obtain this money. I'm gonna, whatever it looks like. But if you idolize the money, you make that. I think that's where the trap is. So just keep that in mind. Where for I don't know, for any Christian that's probably watching this, is like, because we talk. To be fair, we talk quite a bit about money.
Yeah,
we're in business. We're businessmen, and money does make the world go round. I mean, cash rules everything around. Like that's some real stuff. Now, whether personally I'm gonna allow money to run my life and dictate how I'm gonna be as a person, no. Do I like to have money?
Yeah.
Yes. Like it gives me a better quality of life. I'm able to eat better food, wear better clothes, live in a better neighborhood. So but I'm very careful to never because so there's, and I'll end with this and you can go, but there is a story where a rich man does come to Jesus and he's like, I'm rich. Like, if I if I give to the poor, is that enough for me to get into heaven? Right. Nope. And Jesus is like, it's not so much you being willing to help the poor, but can you let go of everything? Can you let go of all your riches? Is that something you're able to do? And literally, like the poor man leaves crying because he can't let go of it all. And I think that's a good test for yourself. Is like, all right, cool. You've made a lot of money. You're there now. If you were to lose it all or let go of it all, would you still be?
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
It reminds me of that video I sent you with Daddy
That's
Yankee
good.
where he said he had an offer for 150 mil on the table, and his conversation with God was like, God told him, you could take the money, 150 mil, but I'm no longer gonna be with you, because obviously in the music industry you're doing a lot of things that are not, to the word of God. He said, but if you choose me, you got to leave the money, 150 mil. So Daddy Yankee said, it was in Spanish. He's preaching. He said, "How many of you would leave the money?" You know, because a lot of people, you're gonna take 150 mil, and he was like, "Man, the temptation of the money, 150 mil, but overall, he chose God."
Wow.
So he's no longer performing. He's no longer putting out music. He actually said to call him by his government name. No longer he no longer goes by Daddy Yankee anymore. What's his real name? I don't even know his real name.
I don't know.
Yeah, but
it's a great story.
Yeah, to kind of piggyback.
It's real.
Yeah.
I mean, you know Daddy Yankee.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Gasoline.
How do you not?
Yeah. You're like, I kind of
Okay.
We can sing that in church, right?
You did
oh my gosh.
I know.
right.
Please don't
Tommy,
sue
that was
me.
one of the songs you did a dance with right there as a kid.
It wasn't, but it should have been. It
shit.
should have been.
My sister, they would
Pastor
put
Mary
my
wouldn't
sister.
have allowed that song.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way.
They would put my sister to dance that song. But
You don't like Daddy Yankee?
anyways,
Oh.
but so kind of piggyback what you were saying, you know, one of the things that at the end of the day, you know, when we're not all gonna live forever, you know, we're all gonna go to heaven hopefully, but there's gonna come a place and a time where we have a conversation with God, and I think about this and this is why I say, like, yeah, it's okay to want more, but to be in love with money is not enough, because that conversation with God is gonna be more like, what did you do with the gifts I gave you?
Yeah.
The talents that I put in front of you. How many people did you genuinely help? It's not gonna be how much money did you make, right? But it's like, okay, if I gave you an opportunity where you were able to enhance your life and become better, how many people did you help with that? You know?
Oh yeah.
What did you give back? What did you do for the poor? And it doesn't have to be monetary. It could be what we're doing right now. We're inspiring people to become better in their lives just by doing this, you know, just by taking chances, starting a podcast. We don't know who's listening and who's going to be inspired by this. Where they're like, shit, if they could do it, I could do this too, you know? So I think about those conversations, and that's like my conversation with God. I feel like he's telling me that, what are you doing with these opportunities? What I gave you gifts. We all have gifts, but did you put them to work? Right.
Oh, I love that, because that's actually kind of what fuels me. Well, I know we'll end with this probably, but
we'll end with a question. I got a question.
It was kind of what you just said, though. I remember like a few years ago when I was in high school, one of the pastors said, I don't remember the whole like message, but he basically was saying, like, once you get up to heaven, like, imagine God turning you around and saying, like, look what your life produced. And I remember, like, once I like really saw that in my head, like, it changed my perspective on everything, because I was like, none of this like even matters. I'm like, I'm really just supposed to be using my life to love people and bring people home to Jesus. And like, once I really thought about that, I was like, yeah, how many people did I bring to Jesus? Like, is my family going to even be standing there? Like, are my friends, like, am I really using my life, like you were saying, and the opportunities like to bring people home? And so now that's like my whole like life purpose. And I think like with my podcast Rise Up and the stuff I said I did in high school, like I tried to make it like rise up and not necessarily like, I don't know, like Jesus, like put Jesus in the title, because I never want people to be turned away from like God. Yeah. Like I heard something one time and it was like, you can tell someone everything about God without even saying his name, by just the way you treat them and the way you love them. And that's what I choose to do in my life. I'm just hoping people see that. And I think people are starting to, and that just means everything to me, because I'm like, I hope you don't see like I'm doing this just for what I want, but it's like there's a greater purpose in this, of it's God, it's my faithfulness, and this can happen for you too. And I don't know. So now I always think that I'm like, okay, I wonder what my life is going to be like when I go to heaven, like who I brought with me.
Right.
That's the mission.
How many lives did you impact?
Yeah, like impacting lives is what matters most.
Yep.
That's true.
I agree. I got a question for you, and we'll probably just end it here. But is there any industries or roles that you see yourself, exploring next?
I love that. Wherever God wants to take me, but I hope to do like movies, TV shows one day. I want to do like entertainment reporting. I want to stay doing like broadcasting. I'm really open to anything. I don't really have like an exact vision, because I feel like if I would have had a vision, I would never be like a boxing sports reporter right now. So I'm like, whatever is meant is going to happen.
Do you see yourself ever like starting your own reporting, like boxing reporting company?
Yeah,
okay.
I definitely do. That's hopefully will happen soon, but I have some things I have to work out still.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but I think that would be a great plan.
That's right. MarVic Productions, we got you.
Hey,
willing to
thank
help
you
out.
guys so much. I'm so
Yeah.
proud of what you guys are doing, really.
Thank you. That means a lot. I mean, I think if we look at our guests, you've probably someone that, because everybody else is either like an athlete or they have their business, but in this world of like microphones and interviews, I think what you have already done in such a short amount of time for you to feel that way and for you to come on, I think says a lot about you and your humility and just. It didn't work out the first time, but you kept your word.
Right.
You kept your word. Yeah.
Being a person of your word, that
means a lot.
Yeah.
That means a lot,
Means a lot.
especially, in just anyone's world. So thank you for coming, and we appreciate your time.
We wish
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, we wish you the best, and we're excited to see your growth. And one thing I could say about this podcast here with us, what we've done is like, I feel like we're interviewing the next generation, the next top person that, 3-4 years from now is just going to be, take off.
You guys could be documenting history right now, and you don't even know.
Yeah.
I always think that with my interviews too. I'm like, what if one day they use this for like a big documentary?
Yeah.
You never know.
No, that's true.
That's the beauty of it.
I don't think that far. I'm going to be honest. I'm just here like, having fun and stuff. But that's true. I mean.
Yeah, like, I could see you like Jordan Platt. She's interviewing boxers or
She's
like.
great.
Yeah, like, who's to say you can't be the next Jordan Platt?
Who knows, you guys? Stay tuned.
There it is.
Yeah, well, thank you guys. We appreciate your time. Obviously, this conversation could go on for hours. But Aliyah Orozco, thank you, for coming on.
Any final words?
No, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys watching. If you guys want, you guys can follow me at Aliyah Orozco, ALIYAHOROZCO on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. My YouTube has boxing videos, so you could see some of my interviews on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for
welcome.
having me
Of
and for inspiring people. I love what God is doing through you
Can
guys.
MarVic get a shout out real quick with, hit us.
Oh, hey, wait, yes, wait. Wait. Oh, MarVic. Okay.
Yes.
Shout out to MarVic. Is it MarVic Productions?
Yeah.
Okay. Shout out to MarVic Productions. You guys, a great podcast. Make sure to come check it out. Yes,
Awesome.
yes.
Thank you. And yeah, her podcast, Rise Up, you just launched it, obviously. When's your next episode going to come out?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah, I'm actually supposed to be interviewing Sugar Shay and Mosley next week too for my podcast.
Okay.
Yes, I'm excited for that
And
one.
after that is this guy, Marlon Hernandez.
Oh yeah, like Marlon Hernandez was actually the next in the lineup.
There we go.
I'm actually looking for a co-host. You guys.
All right, there it is.
We'll talk after this. But no, thank you so much. Thank you to everybody that's tuned in.
love
Follow
y'all.
us. Also, TikTok, all that good stuff. And
Thank you for
we'll
watching.
be posting, soon enough. So thank you guys.
Much love.
Peace out.
Peace.
Thank you.
I am nerdy.